Mr. Juru. And ladies and gentlemen, it is currently the 24th of the month of September 2022. If you're watching this live or going to watch the recorded version afterwards, I just want to give you a sense of time. This is our first leadership meeting together in several months. We were doing it almost every month, every other month, but due to circumstances and being just completely underwater with some other responsibilities, I had to delay our next training to this time. And this comes at a very fortuitous time period because for many of us, we are getting ready to attend the training in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We don't care about the impending storms and hurricanes because we are a hurricane and we are a Category 5. And so as we all land on airplanes and so forth, we will enjoy blowing that storm to the southeast, west, or north, but nowhere near us. I would ask of you a few things if possible, as this is the leadership core of a big chunk of our team, like Miss Aerosmith mentioned. For our live listeners today, please can you come on screen unless absolutely not possible. Some of you are calling in from work, and I understand that, and others of you have other circumstances, but I have to tell you that I don't do as good a training when everybody's hiding behind the black. So if you could please come on screen or off of the picture to the extent possible, it will be to your benefit. I won't suck as bad. There you go. I'll be better for you, right? Also, as everybody knows is my custom, this is part of a leadership library. For any of you in my team that don't understand this, we have a whole library of trainings that we've covered from all aspects, understanding compensation plan, customer acquisition, understanding how to handle cold market approaches, everything. It's all for all of you that work directly with me. It's all in our Dropbox library. If you don't know where it is, ask one of us. We'll get you the key to that. But this is a library. And, you know, for those of you that don't know me, in December, I celebrate 27 years in this company. And I'd like to think that I've learned a few things. I like to think that perhaps I can give you the pathway to take some time off of your journey to the top of this company. And so as we go through this, these are topics that we have designed this training for today that will be especially useful to those of you that are getting ready to enjoy Fort Lauderdale, either in person or virtually. And I say either in person or virtually because my real leaders are going to be in person unless it's due to health or emergency, but they are absolutely going to still be on virtual even if they're not there in person, because leadership does not entertain excuses. And if you think you have something better to do than going to this training, whether you're in the UK, Europe, another country, or here in the United States, then that tells me you're just not committed to winning. And please don't argue with me about that. That's 27 years of training that's coming at you. This will be my 112th event, Mr. Juru, which as a senior VP, I shouldn't have to go, but I know that I need to go because none of us ever arrive in this thing. It's all about understanding that training has to be progressive and ongoing. So for those of you that are on screen, and for those of you that are on screen, I'll be looking for your raised hand feature. I will not train you without your permission to allow me to coach you. So if I have your permission to coach you, could I see your either raise hand or your real hand? I will not start until I get 100%. Thank you very much. Keep your hand there. If you're off screen, can you throw me a raise hand button, please? I'm looking. We still have a few more people.
I can't find mine, but my hand's up.
Thank you, Lori. Anybody else that can't find it? I think we hit 100%. Thank you very much. You can lower your hands now. Again, to our leaders, never train without asking permission. This is an independent, autonomous army. None of us work as employees for each other. At the end of the day, we're all working at the pleasure of each other's businesses. We're doing this on our own. So if you're going to coach or train, then be kind enough to go ahead and ask permission, because in this training, unlike normal trainings, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk straightforward. And I'm not going to go ahead and give you just what you might want to hear, but I'm going to give you what I feel you need to hear. Is that okay with everybody? And anybody that's ever trained with me over the last 27 years or over this last year of Train the Trainers knows that to be the case. So if you're taking notes, and I can't imagine you wouldn't take notes because leaders know that to Think is to put it in ink. And if you want to modernize that, it means to type or take notes. If you're not taking notes, I'm not sure what you're looking to expect from this call, because the average brain won't retain more than 6 to 10% of any kind of training offered. Does that make sense? All right, here's our topics today, you guys. And all of this is done with a view to what's coming next week for those of us that are going to be in person, and also those of us that are going to be training virtually. I'm going to talk about the following 4 topics, and you may not think that they are major, but they are major. Topic number 1, we're going to talk about daily disciplines. I'm going to be quoting a fair amount from Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N, Jim Rohn. And we're going to talk about daily disciplines. A big piece of this training was extracted from a book that Jim Rohn wrote called The Seasons of Life. If you're not reading daily, what are you doing in your business? How do you expect to win by osmosis? You're going to put a book underneath of your pillow and lay your head on the pillow, and the words are going to seep through the cotton up into your psyche? I don't think so. If you want to be a leader, then you need to be the leader you want to attract. So if a little side training is, if you're not reading daily something to learn about your business, then you're not really serious about being committed long-term. If I do this right and you follow what I'm about to teach you, some of you are going to have the biggest fall, the biggest autumn and winter of your lives. Some of you will have the biggest year in ACN and in your lives, and I'll be taking you home along with your great leaders on the Zoom today, because the things I'm going to teach will take an easy 1 or 2 years off of your journey. How many of you would like to take 1 to 2 years off your journey? Okay, very good. So that's what this is about. So we're going to talk about daily disciplines. When I finish that, I'm going to talk about consistency of effort. Consistency of effort. When I get done with daily disciplines and consistency of effort, I want to drill down on something called the 48-hour rule and follow through. The 48-hour rule and follow through. Notice I did not say follow up. I don't believe in follow up. I believe follow up is short and not long term. I believe in follow through. I believe that follow through is about sticking with something long enough until you get to your goal. It isn't over. It ain't over until we win. So if you haven't won yet, if you haven't reached the part of your life where the business is doing for you what you set for expectations, then we're not winning yet. And that begs a question, by the way. I know I'm just laying out the outline for the training. That begs a question. I wonder how many of you don't have goals. How many of you are just waking up and letting the day dictate to you what you're going to make of it? Now, don't raise your hand on this. This is a self-introspective question. How many of you have written down or updated your why, W-H-Y, to make it current? And how many of you have made your why so painful that it moves you to work when everything is telling you not to? Did you guys catch that? Because leaders understand that success is for those who believe in it the most and hang in with it the longest. Success will only come to those of you that stay in the game when everything is telling you, get out of ACN, stop. I sometimes see people that leave my WhatsApp thread. We just had one in my thread today. And I'm like, I don't feel any remorse, because I know we gave everything that person needed, but that person didn't have a strong why. And the first time they hit adversity, or the second or third, they quit. And quitters never win. Failure has no allowance of quitting. I've not, in 27 years and hundreds of thousands of people, I've not had anybody fail. Not one person has failed in my team, but I have had thousands that have quit. And most of them quit. They were SVPs, but they quit when they were not even ETLs or just at ETL. Did you guys catch that? That went over a few of your head. They were SVPs who quit when they were on or at ETL. What? Anybody want to raise their hand and mention, is Mr. Frager losing his mind? What is he talking about? How is it possible for someone to be an SVP who has quit on or at ETL? Somebody help me. we're going to make today a little interactive from time to time. Anybody? Don't be shy.
The person, Mr. Frager, can I answer that?
Yes, go ahead, please.
The person quit as an ETL, but has an SVP below them.
Okay, it could be, but that's not what I'm referring to, Daphne. Thank you for at least, was that you, Daphne? Who said that? Was that Daphne?
Yes, it was me.
Thank
Yes,
you. Thank you for having the courage to get out of the gate. Sarah, how about you?
They quit while they were ETLs or earlier.
So basically, they had the potential to be what?
To be an SVP,
The
but they left
potential to be
early.
an SVP,
Yeah.
but they got knocked out of the game on or before or by ETL. Now, a few people will actually make it to RC or RD. And they get that far, and then they have one of the toughest journeys in network marketing is from RD to regional VP and beyond. Because you have to do what you've just done 4 times more, basically. You're building big, building with. But sometimes people quit at RVP or SVP. You know why? Because vision isn't automatic. How many of you have ever gone down the streets of the UK or the United States, and it was after a snowstorm, and the guy or gal that's driving in front of you kicks up the muddy, snowy, dirty water and covers your headlights, so where it's at night, you can barely see in front of you, even though it's not really snowing anymore. How many of you know what I'm talking about? You've gotten dirty water splattered up on your windshield and on your stuff. You can't see. Now, your future is the same. Everything in front of you remains unchanged. But what's changed? Who can tell me? What's become blurred or blocked or diminished? A
Your
word
vision.
that's, what was it?
Your vision.
Your vision. And in scripture, we learn that when you don't have vision, you what? Anybody? Perish. Yeah, you don't make it. So let's just clear the air here. Just having a title. Look, I've been a senior VP since my promotion 2012. And I was an RVP since my promotion on December 31st, 1997 to 2012. Obviously, there was no senior VP till those later years. And it took me 3 years, 4 hours, 4 days and 7.5 hours to reach RVP. And when I did it, as many of you know the story, it was 60% more things to have to do to get to those goals. And we didn't have Zoom, and we didn't have anything that was automatic. Everything was paper. Everything was faxed in. When you wanted to meet someone, you drove across town. You sat with them at coffee. You put yourself in living room after living room. You carried your television. I used to take it in my old Dodge minivan. Used to take it and put it in the back of my minivan with the VCR. Anybody remember what a VCR is? Raise your hand. Show me how old you are. VCR, everybody knows that. And I had my VHS tape, you know, the one that, if you heard Greg Provenzano, the one that had the Woody Woodpecker, but had been overcome by because they used reprocessed tapes. And we would go ahead and show these long 15-minute introduction videos, and our meetings would go an hour to an hour and a half. And it was just uphill, barefoot, both ways. And people came in, and I have all my upline quit. So I got started, and I made mistake after mistake. And my first 5 people, 2 quit and 2 more came in, and I put my head down, and my creditors were screaming because I didn't have the money to get started. So I had to go late on things, and everything was, so I'm by myself, no upline, no training meetings like this, no nothing. And then I just put my head down, and I got myself above water and profitable in 3 weeks. And then 6 months in, I started to make enough money where I put my company up for sale after 21 years and 50 employees. And then we just kept failing forward. We didn't quit. And the people to the left of me fell, and the people to the right of me fell. It was like storming the beaches of Normandy, for crying out loud. People falling. My leaders, my upline, they quit. They got negative. They became like velociraptors, eating up anybody that would listen to their negative, vile speech about ACN. And then 3 years and 7 days and 3 years and 4 days and 7.5 hours, literally 5:30 at night on December 31st, 1997, I hit RVP. You know why? Because what I'm teaching you today. because everybody that wasn't a part of my journey, that wasn't putting wind in my sails, was not somebody I could spend time with. Ugh, ouch. What? Is he telling me that I have family and friends that I shouldn't be spending time with? No, you should spend time with them on the important things of life. But you don't have time to sit around with a bunch of whiny, thumb-sucking, negative individuals that have no clue what your mission is, what your journey is. Those people you love, but you don't fall in love with. Is everybody getting this? And so I did that. And then, you know, we made a few $1,000s a month, and we grew, and we made mistakes, and we fell in and out of positions. And Lord knows it was just a tough journey. And then we prevailed. And we didn't mind, you know, some of you are dealing with health issues that have knocked you backwards. Some of you are dealing with still the lingering COVID business issues, knocked you flat. Some of you are dealing with life changes and relationship changes. That's life. Life is sloppy. You might want to write that down. Life is sloppy. There's no perfect time to build your business. There's no perfect time to grow and start a family or get married. You're going to have to work through the sloppiness of life. But leaders recognize that if you can endure the dump, the place where rubbish is thrown, if you can endure that, victory is for those who endure it. Victory is for those who perdure it, P-E-R-D-U-R-E. Endurance has limitations. A pregnant woman endures 9 months of having another living being in her womb, and then labor, and then it's over. Perdurance is when you don't know the time frame or when the end is in sight. The Great Wall of China has perdured centuries, millenniums of battles and weather and storms, and it's still standing. Are you? What did your summer look like? Don't answer. What does your production look like? Don't answer. How much of your day is spent trying to figure out your day? I went back to my earlier question. How many of you wake up and you don't really have a clue who you're going to go approach today? You're just taking, you're like you have what we call the lottery mindset. See, I know there are people that win millions of dollars playing the lottery, but I don't choose to make that my way of creating income for my family. How many of you understand that? That's not a safe way. Just like I read a report of a guy who had migraine headaches, and he put a gun in his mouth and he pulled the trigger and it blew the backside of his brain out, and he lived. He lived, and he never had another migraine again. But how many of you know that's not the recommended way to get rid of migraines? Right? So you can decide how you want to do it, but some of you, and you gave me permission, so don't get all attitudinal with me right now. Some of you are letting life arrange you instead of you arrange life. Some of you are letting the people who you love tell you what you will be and what your purpose is. Some of you have people that you kiss goodnight. You love this man or woman, and you kiss them goodnight, but they won't be your customer. They won't fulfill or support your purpose. I got to tell you, and you don't have to agree with this, but I'm right whether you agree with this or not. You have relationship challenges. And those relationship challenges will slow your journey to the top. Because if you have a significant other or a friend or anyone in life that's talking smack or not supporting you, you need to evaluate what your friendships are like. They don't have to join the business. I have lots of people that don't join my business, but they're supportive. They'll give me referrals. They'll say, how's it going? I hope it's working for you. If you have people in your life that you love and they won't do that for you, why are you listening to that noise? That noise, somebody tell me, for the new people today, and there's a lot of new people in my team, what do you call that voice in your head that tells you all the negative stuff about you're going to fail and that you don't deserve success? What's
Rufus.
Rufus. Yeah, it's not the man, when you're talking about life and death, it's not the man with knife or gun. It's the man who tells you it can't be done. That's your enemy. You're in a battle. This business is not easy, but it's very simple. 96% of the battle you're about to fight from now through Fort Lauderdale, and then you're going to get this bolt of lightning of energizing, and all the caca and the dirt's going to be taken off of your windshield and your headlamps, and you're going to be able to see clearly clearly, crystal clear. When we release our brand new service this weekend coming up, it's good. You're going to be jumping in your seats at home or in person. And you are going to be excited out of your mind for about 3 weeks. For about 3 weeks. If you don't come out of the gates of this event with a new IBO in your business in the first 72 hours of your departure on screen or in person, you are going to be still where you are 90 days from now. Write it down. I've done this for 27 years. There's nothing you can tell me that I haven't seen or gone through. And just a reminder again to our leaders, if you're a leader, could you show yourself on screen if possible? Makes my training better. You should know that. The idea here is that you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that you have this opportunity coming up here in a few days to get energized, but it's like anything else. Vision, expectation that's postponed just makes your vision sink. You're not going to win. So number one, you can't be without trainings. Those of you that have not registered for the event, even in the UK and so forth, you are setting yourself up for failure. You're saying to yourself, I don't need what the company says I need. Lots of success to you on that one. Hope that works out for you. But for those of you that are coming, you've got to act swiftly with the things I'm going to share today, because if you don't, at best, you have 1 to 3 weeks of shelf life in your business. If you don't turn the corner quickly, 90 days from now, you're still going to be an ETL, an RC, an IBO, because some of you are waking up and you don't have any purpose in your day. And you know who I'm talking to. If you feel like I'm talking to you directly, you're right. Some of you don't go to bed, as I've been training for years, and you have no clue who the people are that you're going to speak to tomorrow. If I asked each of you to tell me right now, who are the 3 people you have lined up to talk to tomorrow? I wonder how many of you would give me 3 specific names and numbers. Here's what most people do, and these are the people, unfortunately, the 80% that don't make money in network marketing. Here's what they do. They go ahead and wake up. They go off to work or school or whatever it is they do. And if someone comes into their mind, they venture a call or not. And the longer that goes on, the more the phone is heavier to lift up. See, the longer you take to do what you set out to take or to do, the less chance there is you'll do it. It's called the law of diminishing intent. The longer it takes for you to do what you said you were going to do, the less chance there is you're going to do it, which is why some of you, your belief is at an all-time low, because it's been so long since you peaked someone that I have to beg you to get me 1 person in a week. Well, that stops today. Because if you don't have enough self-respect to get yourself a person on the phone or on a Zoom every day, that's your issue, not mine. My answer to any time that happens is I start a new team, because I know that there's 8 billion people on earth that I can peak. So I'm just going to keep going until I find the ones that are hungry, like Doug Juru, top producing senior VP, or others that are great leaders on this call. So my question is, what's missing? Well, daily disciplines, it's what's missing. I want to read you what Jim Rohn wrote. And again, this is from the Seasons of Life, but I want to read you a quote. Failure is simply a few errors in judgment repeated every day. Did everybody get that? Every day that goes by that you don't do something you should be doing, or that you do something incorrectly, you decide to vomit on your people when you peak them instead of just inviting them to a private business Zoom or to a recording. You decide that doesn't work for my people. So you go ahead and decide to do it your way. When you do that, little by little, you're off course. And just like the NASA people that go to the moon, if their trajectory is off by a fraction of a degree, by the time they get to the moon, they'll miss the moon by miles. So few errors in judgment repeated every day. Now, let me give you the good news. Here's the good news. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Well, how do you like them apples, everybody? Failure is when you don't do the right things, just a few minor things every day, or you do the wrong things every day. Success only needs a few simple disciplines practiced every day. It's the accumulative weight of our disciplines and our judgments that leads us to either fortune or failure. The cumulative weight. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? How many of you have ever taken a walk down the beach and you're just taking a slow walk and then you look back after an hour or whatever and you are like miles away from where you started? You can't even see where you started. Well, imagine if that's a journey, but you're on the wrong beach or you've gone off path. Now you have an extra hard way to get back. So if you're struggling in your business, it's not any major things you're doing wrong. It's just little daily disciplines. If you're taking notes, it's what you're doing that needs to be getting better because you're not good at your craft yet. Or you have Rufus in your head, the negative talk. So you peak without any excitement or enthusiasm. That's a killer, man. That you might as well just quit the business if that's you. You're like, so I did, and how's your friends? And how's the car? And oh, by the way, so I started a business and it's NAC, and I'm hoping it's going to work out. And do you think you want to look at it? You all are smiling, but I have people on my team that do that all the time. They just vomit all over their people. They go their own path. So what happens is you get bad results and then you feel like, oh God, this isn't working. This isn't working. So it's either the things you're doing wrong or it's the omission of the things you're doing right. I'd like to talk about that for a second. You must have consistency of effort. You remember I told you I was going to talk about daily disciplines and consistency of effort? Most of you, and yes, I said most, are doing start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. You have not conditioned your day to where there's a consistency to it. This business, leaders are not built in a day, John Maxwell says. Leaders are built daily. Daily, not in a day, daily. It's better for you to spend 15 minutes daily than 2 hours once a week. Everybody get that? You got to stay limber, just like those of you that work out or do stretching or whatever you do. It's a daily ritual. So when you're not doing the right things, when you have not piqued anyone in a few days, you got to ask yourself, why not? What are you afraid of? The no? Well, let me tell you a little secret. I get no's at SVP, but I don't think about them. I eat no's like vitamins, like vitamin C. I pop a no. I love no's because no's build character. When people tell me that ACN doesn't work, I internally gut laugh because I've been home for 25 years. When people tell me it's not going to work out for you or AC, I just had a guy that was a regional director in the company years ago try to pique me to something else. And I just had a person in another company try to pique me this morning. Happens to me every day. The grass is always greener, right? Over on the other side of the fence. And I don't know why they do it. I actually give them commendation. Thank you for piquing to me, but heck no, I'm not going anywhere. But at least they had the stones to pique me as an SVP. And I just want a free cruise for crying out loud with ACN because of production. I'm not going anywhere. So guess what? They tried to pique me. And one guy said, I've heard rumors that ACN is going down. Wow. How many of you think we should all quit? Rumors. You know, I've heard rumors that if you go on Google and put in the Flat Earth Society, that there are people that still believe in the flat Earth. How many of you know that's a true statement? Try it. Flat Earth Society. You'll find pages of people that still believe the Earth is flat, not round. I've also heard rumors that people that are British Africans all worship Satan. That's this. I just coming after Doug Jura and many of. That's slanderous. That's hideous. Rumors are deadly if you listen to them. And that was a blatant lie because they're some of my favorite parts of my team, Doug, just so you know. But what's the moral of the story? Why did I go there? Because some of you are listening to the wrong voices. And because of that, you're either doing things incorrectly daily or you're not doing things that you should be doing daily. And we just read that the accumulative weight of our disciplines and judgments lead us to either fortune or failure. Can I tell you the story of where the expression, the straw that broke the camel's back comes from? How many of you have heard this expression? Raise your hand. Oh, that's just the straw that broke the camel's back for me. And that usually signifies somebody who says, I'm done. You know, I've dealt with this person, this craziness. I'm done. That's the straw that broke the camel's back. Can I tell you where that came from? I was giving a lecture once and I researched the etymology of that word and that phrase. Can I tell you where it came from? The nomads in the Middle East, the Bedouins, would travel with their camels, right? As we all know. And they would sell at the market beautiful carpets. How many of you seen some of the small Middle Eastern, Persian, or other kinds of carpets? Sometimes they're just a couple meters by a meter or so. And they would drape those carpets over the camel. No problem. And then they put more carpets over the camel. Lots and lots of carpets. And they built so many carpets in a row that eventually there would be so much cumulative weight that all it would take would be the proverbial piece of straw placed on top of that top blanket to do what to the camel's back? To break it. Now I ask you, was it any one rug or carpet that broke the camel's back?
No.
It was the cumulative weight of all of them. And that's what your business amounts to, is that for some of you, it's not any one thing that's keeping you from working, but you haven't learned to compartmentalize and get into a consistency of effort so as to keep the weight of your business from breaking your back. So what happens is you deal with the kids at school, you deal with your career, you deal with your spiritual life, you deal with your personal life, you deal with your family life, and the back burner always gets a little bit of exhausted effort. How many of you know what I'm talking about? You're exhausted starting your day at 9:05 when people are starting to wind down for the evening. And you wonder why you can't get people on the phone or on a PBZ Zoom or any of that stuff. It's not ACN. It's just that you saved it. You instead of being excited and consistent, you waited until you were completely famushed, completely exhausted, and you gave it your worst effort. Don't beat yourself up. I've been there 1,000 times. You gave me permission to be real. For this business to work, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you need to have a daily, consistent routine. If you want to go back and do the compartmentalization video training, it's available in my library. That's a whole video of its own. But let me, for today, make it simple. The only way to get above 10,000 euros, pounds, and dollars. Did you notice, Doug, all of them are about the same value right now? Your pound just crashed. King Charles came in and everything kind of went down a little bit for a while. Anyways, I have learned, and this is a training I shared with you a few months ago, that you need to do approximately 2 to 3 people per day on average if you ever want to get out of your life what you put into this business. If you ever want to get out of your career and live off of residuals like Cindy and I. Not one every other day, not one a week. Now, that doesn't mean you should quit the business if you do one a week. And the principle or training of that is that even a blind hog occasionally finds an acorn. No, I'm not calling you a hog, but I am using the metaphor. If you're in the forest, that hog and eventually will find an acorn that looks like Doug Juru or looks like Anthony Ranjit or looks like any of our great leaders here today. And that leader will be so substantial that for you can override as an ETL, like we heard earlier today, you can override, like Daphne said, that's SVP, and you'll still make a few $1,000s a month. How many of you would be okay if you had an SVP in your downline and just by being an ETL and overriding them? I knew of an ETL that sat right above an RVP, and the ETL made $140,000 a year. As God is my witness. How many of you would not mind being that ETL, right? Just like I know of a gal who signed up the United States Postal Service on a business product years ago and was making $23,000 US a month. We never saw her again. Never saw her again. Yeah. except for the US Postal Service has changed in the last 20 years. And I don't imagine, because what she was making her money on, we don't do anymore. But how many of you understand that you can eventually, even if you work this way and get one person every week on a Zoom, we already know that 50% are going to show up. We already know that 1 in 3 is going to join the business. And that, you know, so if you get 1 a week, my God, then, but you're going to need to do 3 weeks of work to get 1.5 people there, to get one in the half of a person in, just, I guess the torso comes in the business. And then that person, I guess, dies because they bleed out because you only recruited a torso. I'm not sure how that works. Anybody know what happens if you recruit 3 people and 1.5 show up and only 30% get in the business? That I guess you maybe you sew up the torso and they work. I don't know. Just doesn't seem like the best way to do it. Daily disciplines is when, Doug, come off mute. Daily disciplines is when I go to Doug and I say, Doug, how are you?
Great. Thank you so much for asking.
Listen, what are you doing tonight at 8 o'clock?
Tonight, I'll be actually showing my business to somebody.
Okay, so let me time out. Doug played the role of a leader. Doug, for one moment, can you just be a pretend person that's in the field?
Okay.
Rewind. Hey, Doug, how are you? Oh, wait. I want to time this. You guys have your watch. I'm timing this. I want you guys to see how ridiculous it is when you're not daily disciplined. Everybody sees the zeros? Ready, set, go. Hey, Doug, how are you?
I'm glad you asked. You wouldn't believe it. Life is tough.
Oh, it sure is, man. I'm so sorry to hear that. Doug, let me ask you, what are you doing tonight at 8 o'clock?
I'll probably have an early night tonight.
You know what? Can I ask you a crazy question? Are you open to making some money outside of what you're currently doing?
Ambitious, really.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question. You broke up.
I am not that ambitious.
That's okay. If ambition is necessary, I'll let you know. There's a Zoom that's tonight. It may or may not be for you, Doug, but I found that there's a way we can get paid when people pay their everyday services. And it's just 20 minutes long. One of the top producers in the world is doing it. Would you do me a favor? Respect me enough just to take a look, please?
Since it's you, yeah, I'll have a look.
How long is that, you guys? How many seconds? 58. Doug threw me a couple of curves. He was non-motivated. He was busy. He was certainly not a prime person. I'm not much stock into the fact that Doug's going to be my next SVP, but I can't read his mind or his heart. Could be he hears something on Monday night on the national call in the UK, or when he comes on my presentation. He could be he hears something, decides to change his life, right? Maybe he's lost his ambition because his boss has told him what to do for the last 30 years. Maybe that killed his ambition. Maybe he wants to be an entrepreneur. But here's the point. How long did it take for me to do something for my business? 58 seconds. So let's just say that I talked to 3 people today. Hopefully you leaders that are hiding behind the screens are still listening. If let's just say I talked to 3 people today. How much time did I spend? Anybody? 1 minute per person. How much time for 3 people?
3 minutes.
But let's just say I step on my tongue and each person takes 2 minutes. 3 people times 2 is how many minutes?
6 minutes.
6 minutes. But wait a minute. But I got to get on the Zoom, and there's 5 minutes beforehand and 5 minutes. Let's say I got to take 30 more minutes. What's 30 plus 6?
36 minutes.
And let's just say I've got to, I don't know, I got to find somebody's number and so forth. And we're just going to round it up and call it an hour. If you gave your boss 1 hour a day, how long would you last in your job?
That's it.
So why are you working full-time for your job and part-time on your fortune, but you're not even working part-time? I just established that I can pick 3 people in 3 minutes. If we add it on a Zoom or sending what it takes to send him a recorded presentation, at best, 3 people is going to take a half an hour to an hour of my life. At best, at the end of a complete week, I've given 7 hours of my life. But if I did 3 people, 2 should come on. And if I get 2 on, I may have a chance of getting 1 in the business. Here's what I know. 3 times 7, do the math with me, is 21. If half show up, half of 21 is 10. How many of you agree? If half of the people I invite show up, that's 10. And if only 1/3 of those that show up and join the business, how many new IBOs did I start at the end of a week? What's 1/3 of 10?
About 3.
That's
3.
three.
Let's just round it down. Let's say Mr. Frager doesn't want to be exaggerating. 2. So let's just wait. 3 people a day, 21 a week. Half showed up, the other half dissed me. Of the half that showed up, those 10 people, I brought in 2, 20%, not 30, that's normal. At the end of a week, I have 2 people I've expended 7 hours because it didn't take 3 minutes, took me 15 minutes to pick somebody, whatever. But I spent an hour a day on average, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15-minute intervals. 2 new IBOs. At the end of 4 weeks, how many IBOs do I have?
8.
I have 8 IBOs, but of course, people do as they are brought in. So at the end of those of the month, those 8 people, at least half of them are going to imitate my pattern of building the business. Does this make sense?
Yes.
So if I have 8 people that started that month and 4 of them do the same thing, that means those 4 should each get 8, which is 32 people next month. How many of you understand my math?
Mhm.
So those 32 plus my 4, or excuse me, my 8 is 40 people. A month from now, 2 months from now. How many of you think let's see, we're finishing up September, October, November. How many of you think if we enter the month of December with 40 people brand new in our team, mind you, I was talking about you doing the work and bringing 40 in, but let's just say it came in between you and your people below you. And I didn't even talk about the people that came in under your people in duplication. How many of you think your life would be changed with those 40 people come December? Let's say half of them quit. 20 people still sticking it out with you in December. How many of you think your business would look better than it does today with 20 brand new excited people who get it like you get it come December? How many of you think holiday season and the end of the year and the new year starts with a whole new perspective with you and 20 other people fighting the fight with you?
Yeah.
It started with you talking to how many people? 3. How often? Daily. And taking a whopping 3 minutes of your life, which I exaggerated out to an hour to do it. So you can make excuses and you can make money, but can you make them both at the same time?
Nope.
What have we learned? Daily disciplines are required in order to succeed. Daily disciplines. He continues, failure is not a single cataclysmic event. You don't fail overnight. Failure is a few errors that are repeated. And it's your philosophy that determines whether you will go for the disciplines or continue the errors. I got to repeat that one, Doug. It's your personal philosophy that will determine whether you go for the daily disciplines or just continue repeating the same errors. I love every one of you, but some of you have not brought a new person to a private business Zoom or meeting in months because you have chosen to continue the errors. You are frozen by your fears. And because of that, there is no consistency in your output. Listen to this. The smallest of disciplines practiced every day start an incredible process that can change our lives forever. Look, if you did what I just shared with you, but you did it with 2 people a day instead of 3. Oh, wait, quick exercise. Everybody pay attention. Let's just say that you're like so lazy that you can only talk to 1 person a day. So at the end of the week, how many people have you invited to a meeting? How many?
7.
7. Very good. How many actually show up? Half, right?
Right.
Let's just say 3.
3.
Out of 3, we should get at least 1. 1 person comes in. At the end of the month, we have how many people?
4.
You go into the next month, 2 of them have quit. They don't want to do what you're doing, but the other 2 go out and get their 4. So now they have 8 because 2 people got 4. That's 8 plus your original folks. How many of you think even that would be life-changing compared to the way your business looks at the end of summer? Come on, people. We are in battle. There's no time for mediocrity. Quit meandering in the maze of mediocrity. Because all that's going to get you is a mediocre result. And the world does not reward mediocrity. The world does not reward average. The world does not reward great. The world does not reward outstanding. The world rewards extraordinary, mythical. So if you want to just get up the ladder quickly, you've got to do what other people are not willing to do. You got to be willing to do today what others don't do or won't do if you want to have tomorrow what other people don't have. Les Brown. You got to be willing to work today when others are playing so that you can play later on with me and the gang of leaders on the cruise ship on ACN's dime when other people are working. It's not a holiday when you pay for your way to a trip and all your expenses. That's called a trip. It's a holiday or vacation when ACN pays for your bills. How many of you get that? So why are you continuing to do the same thing? Daily disciplines. Here's your goals. I'm giving you goals. Start with one a day. If you're so out of sorts, make a deal with yourself to not put your head on the pillow without peaking correctly one person a day for the first week. Week 2, do 2 a day. Week 3, do 3 a day. And then reach out to me personally and let me know what your business looks like on week 4. Your whole life will be different. Plus, for those of us going to Fort Lauderdale, we're going to get all the sharpened axe training there as well. Can't wait to see you, Doug. It's going to be a great, great time. And then be consistent. Consistency says daily disciplines, not here and there. But here's what I'll tell you. If you have an emergency and you lose one person on a given day, you skipped a day, then consistency says you got to do 2 tomorrow. If you skip 2 days in a row, you got to do 3 the next day. You have to be held accountable for what you didn't do. How many of you understand that business principle? Right? But then you get right back on the horse. Now, you've brought people to the business. You've gotten people that are interested. You've gotten some that are thinking about it. You've gotten some that they haven't. I have to take my remaining minutes and talk to you about the 48-hour rule. I'm just going to state the rule for time. You have 48 hours from the time that someone's exposed to any part of the business to bring it to closure, because every day after 48 hours, after the second day is complete, every day your success is reduced by 50% per day. So I peaked Doug in the business. It's now, today is Saturday. I have till Monday at the latest to get him in front of an opportunity. Whenever you bring someone to something, it resets the clock. Now I've got him to an opportunity. I have no more than 24 to 48 hours to bring him to the head as a customer, or better yet, an IBO or a rotten apple. Because if I get from Saturday to Monday, from Monday to Wednesday, when I wake up Thursday, I have 50% chance of closing Doug for anything. Guys, get that? Friday, you know what I got Friday? 25%. Saturday, I'm at 12.5. Sunday, I'm at 6%. Monday, I'm at 3%. When the time I get back to where I started, I have a 3% chance of closure. So, permission to be real with you, I sucked at this, and most of you do too, until I learned how this works. Some of you have no urgency. You send someone a link, or you send someone to a private business Zoom or a national meeting 5 days from now. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. You got to follow through. There has to be something. If they say, I'm out of town, I can't do anything. Today is Saturday. I can't do anything till Wednesday. Then guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You've got to figure out what little video or what little article on our company, whatever, you've got to text them and send them to bridge the gap and not allow 48 hours to close. Does that make sense? So you can't come H or high water. You can't get on till Wednesday. Then I've got till Monday to get you, I don't know, something special. Something, an article that was written on our company, something that one of the videos that's been done on our company, a presentation of our services. I've got to do something. And then I've got to get good at follow through, not follow up, follow through. We've talked about this before. When you swing the tennis racket, you play through the ball. When you swing the golf, club, you swing through the ball. Most of you are stopping at the ball, and the ball goes bloop, bloop, because you didn't play through the ball. The centrifugal force, the momentum, the pendulum swing doesn't work for you. So you bring someone to a meeting, they didn't go ahead and show up, and you don't follow through to find out if there was an emergency or if they're interested in getting back on. And then 48 hours passes and you wonder why they don't return your calls. Or they come to a meeting and they're not really ready to get started, and you don't go that night to ask them for a huge favor. I won't ask for you to raise your hands, but how many of you have had many people come to your presentations, but you did not convert them into customers? Don't raise your hand. The biggest flaw in most of our leaders today is that you get people to a meeting, but you cannot convert them into a customer. You are not good at follow through. And then you let people tell you on their terms what they're going to do instead of you being the leader who sets the terms and expectations of your people. When I send someone a recording, I'll tell them, do you have 19 minutes to look at it now? You do, great. I'll call you in 30 minutes to see what you like. Will you be expecting my call? Yes, of course. Could you do me a favor? A lot of people don't keep their word anymore. Will you promise me not to ghost me if I reach out to you after the call? Oh no, I would never do that. And even with that, I still get about 1 in 3 that ghost me. But when I don't do that, my odds are ridiculously bad. I call the shots. Write this down. It's who I let into my business, not who I get into my business. You guys, if you're entrepreneurs, you've got to believe down to your cellular level that this is right for you. How many of you believe that ACN's the real deal? You've done your research, you're sold out, right? How many of you still have people on your list that you haven't called? Raise your hand if you have people on your list. So my question to you, and thank you for your honesty, is if you believe 100% in ACN and still have people on your list, then you must not believe about ACN, because why are they still on your list? Your list exists for the sole purpose of you getting through the list and calling everybody on it. Do you guys get that? A list doesn't exist so that we can look at it. A list exists because if you know you were 1,000 people away from RVP and you had 200 people on your list and you're building it up to slowly and surely with cold market and all, how quickly would you want to go through those 200 names? 1 a day? 3 a day? I used to go out, a buddy of mine, when I was new in this business and my upline quit, we would put pennies, little coins in our pocket. I've heard of some that would do the old days a pencil eraser head. And every time I peeked somebody, it went from my left pocket to my right pocket. That makes sense? Left pocket to right pocket. But if it was midnight and I still had 3 pennies left in my pocket, guess what I wasn't allowing myself to do? I didn't go home. I didn't finish. You know why? Because I hadn't completed my task for the day. So then I worked time zones because it was midnight. What am I going to do? Going to call the people on the West Coast. If I'm in the UK, I'm going to call the people across the pond in America. I'm going to call somebody somewhere that's in one of my 27 countries. How do you think I built my legs in Australia? That's where tomorrow is today. Messes with your head. Because I was committed to consistency, daily disciplines, consistency of effort, 48-hour rule, and excellent follow-through. If you struggle with follow through, you need to have a conversation with your upline regional director or above, preferably, or myself, because follow through is nothing more than some simple calls. And we do everything by voice. Can you guys stop texting and SMSing everybody? Yes, I do that too. But you cannot show emotion and excitement on an SMS or message. If you capitalize the word, they think you're screaming. If you put everything lowercase, they think you're bored. There's no winning in this. So try doing a voice, or do a voice with a quick text, just left you a voice message. It's important. How about that for a compromise for all of our millennials and Gen Xers today? I left a voice. Now, a lot of people don't even have voicemail set up. Then what do? I leave a voice message on their text and put underneath it, just left you an important message, need to talk, ASAP. And the message is simple. I need to talk to you. It's important. Trust me. Give me a call. And when they call, where's the fire? Doug, The fire is what's going on right now. Let me just ask you a question. What are you doing today at 8? See how simple that was? I didn't discuss the dog and the cat and the house and the car and the economy and the blah, blah. Is Doug, wait till I tell you where the fire is. What are you doing tonight at 8? Great. Crazy question. Are you open to making some extra money? I just fell into a business relationship with someone who is opening up a $1 billion company enterprise in our country and in our town, looking for people. May or may not be for you. May or may not be for you, but you have got to hear what I heard. Can I count on you tonight at 8? Actually, make that 7:55. People tend to come late. I don't want you to miss a word. It's a numbers game. I just incorporated that in. It's a numbers game. You can be illiterate and an SVP if you just work the numbers. You can literally, if you downloaded the video on a flash drive, you know, the presentation video, and you got 1,000 of them on sale, and you went down the street and you threw out those flash drives 1,000 times. And all you could get out of your mouth, listen to this. This is the new, Mr. Frager's new way of peaking. Download the video with your contact information on a flash drive. And as you roll down your window, you go, and the next, and you just throw those out. I guarantee you from those 1,000 flash drives, you're going to get a ton of people that are going to call you back and come in your business. And I'm not suggesting you should do that. I'm making a point. If you want to make money, talk to people. If you want to make more money, talk to more people. If you want to make no money, look at your list every day and do nothing with it. The purpose of this training call, which is now completed, is about helping you to understand that we're going into our season after Labor Day all the way to Christmas Day. This is the peak season in networking or direct sales. It's the peak season. We're already underway. For most of you that are leaders, you are adding to the fire by coming virtually or in person to the event in Fort Lauderdale. It is in the first international convention since before COVID. Everybody remember that? And it's so important that we're braving this convention, even with the threat of a hurricane, that we hope will get in and get out on the way. But if you come to this event, you're going to be obviously months ahead. Those of you that choose not to go will be at least, I know what's coming, you guys. You'll be a year behind the rest of us. So I hope to take a year off and you're not coming to the event, just added a year back on. But if you're there and you're at the event, and if between now and the event, because can I just help you guys with one last training point? Doug, give me just 30 seconds more. The event is Friday and Saturday. And yet some of you have told me, excited about the event, packing my bags. And I'm thinking to myself, it's Saturday. Why are you packing your bags now? How about peak some people so that we can get more people to the event virtually even? It's not time to start packing. If you want to pack, that's your business. But we're not, the event is 2 days. Everything, the event is a working event, by the way. If you're coming to Fort Lauderdale, bring your list, bring your phone, because we're going to be working around the event, making phone calls. It's not like we're just going to tour and go on boat trips. And as a senior VP, I'm going to be in and out of meetings the whole weekend. If I get 5 minutes with you, kumbaya, because we got stuff going on. But we're going to be sitting in that event learning. And what we do at lunch and all is making calls to set up people for the PBZ when we get back from the event. You guys with me on this? So right now is the time to be recruiting people. And why do I know that? Because they just signed up 3 people in my open, all with the intent of getting them to the event. I'm excited that some of you are going to the event. I'm more excited that some of you are taking people in your team to the event. But the event isn't about you. It's about the people that are needing an opportunity. How many of you know there's people that are looking for an opportunity right now, whether you know it or not? They are down on their knees praying for something to break in their life, right? How many of you know that we have something decent for people? So why are you going to kill their dreams by waiting till after the event to talk to them? Get on the phones. For my American team, we've got a PBZ at 5 Eastern tonight. Not too late for you guys on the UK as well. That's 2 p.m. on the West Coast. That's 10 p.m. You're still out drinking pints of beer and stuff. Put the pint down and get somebody on in America. Come on. My point I'm trying to say here is now is when we get people, because when the company in its graciousness for the first time in history opened up an international training to virtual, which they've never done before, never done. They basically said, the founder said, I'm going to help you build your business. So if you pique someone and they can't afford to fly or be in Fort Lauderdale where the real action is, we can at least get them on a video, live stream. And you will have saved their vision. So call to action, everybody. From now up until the event, 3 a day. 3 a day. For you guys that are lazy, 1 a day. Like I said earlier. For you guys that are in between, 2 a day. For you guys that want to start momentum, 3 a day for just what lasts between now and Friday. So you got 5 or 6 days of doing 3 a day. Certainly you have 15 people on your list you can blitz. And then when we get to the event, we're going to work around the event and talk to people as well and say, when I get back, we need to talk. And watch what happens when you have daily disciplines, consistency of effort, 48-hour rule, great follow through, and remember it's a numbers game. It's not personal. Those of you that talk to more people will always, always win. Before I go, are there any questions? Any questions that I can answer just for a moment? I'm giving you a ask your SVP question and answer opportunity before I go. Doug Juru.
My question is, can we meet up, please, in Florida?
Can we do what? Meet in Florida? What I
Can we come to your team meetings, please?
Yes. Could we meet with the team that's gone in the Circle of Champions? Yeah, of course you can. Doug, you and your team are my favorite part of coming on this call. So thank you very much for that. By the way, if you guys are looking, I'm trying to think if I can send here. I'm going to give you the link. If any of you guys want to do this, Jenny, can I send this to your WhatsApp and you can post it on the thread? Some quotes.
Yes, of course, sir. Thank you. Yes.
This is where I sourced the quotes. I didn't touch but only 10% of them. But can you put that up in the thread for me, Jenny? You guys don't hang up before you cut and paste what's about to be on your chat, because that'll give you some reminders from today.
Right.
For those of you that are working in the Rhino team, working with Doug Juru and Jenny and so forth, Jenny, some are asking here about accessing the library. So I'll send you the link to that as well, that you can, I think I've done it before, but I'll do it again.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Yeah. Okay.
And you'll have to look through there to source the thing. It's the RVP Family Leadership Library. I'll send you that link as well. Anybody else have a question or anything before we close down for the day?
Thank you for your
Everybody know
time. Always.
All right, you guys. Well, I'm looking forward to who's coming to Fort Lauderdale?
One way or the other.
Very good. So you guys, for those of you that are, I didn't see hands up. Hopefully you're making plans to fix that. I'm sending the information that you need for the RVP Family Library. Let me just cut it, share it, and copy it. Hold on. Share link. And for those of you that are there, I can't wait to see all of you, of course. And for the rest of you, until we have another opportunity, it's been my pleasure to speak with you. My name is Koel Frager. Have the rest of a great day and see you in Florida. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Joel.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you in
Thanks
Florida.
a million,
Thank
sir.
you very
What a
much.
training. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it. God bless you, sir.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, sir.
Just,
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I'm just copying the last link over now.
All
You
right.
may have to put that in a different thread.
Thank you,
Mr. Frager.
Jenny, can you put it in the WhatsApp?
I will, but it's on here now for those of us who are not on the WhatsApp. If you want to, two links there. The first one is the quotes from today. The second one is the link to the library.
And for
Thank
those
you
of
very
you,
much.
for those
Thank
of you in
you.
the US team, I've also recorded, even though Jenny did a recording on her end. So I'll post the recorded link because you guys know which members of your team came and which members did not. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, you guys. We'll see you again very soon.
Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Take care of you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for
Thank you,
letting
Jenny,
us
for
know.
organizing this.